What's up people, it's Wasabi and I'm back with another review. And today we have the TenZ Signature Edition Pulsar Mouse. Now this product is not sponsored, but as always with the content on this channel, these are my thoughts, personal opinions, and experiences with the product. Now before we get on with the review, here's a quick look at the packaging because that's what you pay for too. So here's what you get: a TenZ Signature Edition Mouse. You get the 8K polling rate receiver with TenZ's logo and signature on the sides, a USB-C charging cable, very nice and somewhat bendy, a set of dot skates, Pulsar TenZ collector's card, Pulsar TenZ sticker, you got a quick start guide, and that's pretty much all that's included inside the box. Now before we go any further, let's manage some expectations here real quick. Now, this mouse is said to be designed and shaped by TenZ in collaboration with Pulsar, so other than the shape and design, it is pretty much using Pulsar's tech and available components to create this mouse to its taste. The price of this mouse as of May 2025, I gotta say the month because you know the whole world is turning upside down because of the tariffs. And also I wanted to spend a couple of weeks with this mouse before doing this review. But anyway, as of May 2025, it is priced at about $130. I think the design of this mouse is just fine. It sure will come off a little lackluster being a collab mouse, especially with a prominent name like TenZ. You have TenZ's logo in gloss black on top and his signature on the right, which is the usual placement for Pulsar mice. And it doesn't really deliver on the wow factor, to be honest. If this mouse was on your setup, just looking at it, you'd think that it's just some regular mouse. But that's just the looks. At a certain price point and nature of the release, people will expect the design to have something to remember. But don't get me wrong, it's not to say that it's a bad mouse. The design of the side buttons, the first thing that came to my mind was the Razer Viper V3 Pro side buttons because it looks just like it. The bottom of the mouse is caved in, which is a nice little detail. Not something we haven't seen before in gaming mice. But I think the benefit of this is that when you apply pressure down on the mouse, you get less of the plastic base of the mouse rubbing against the pad, which is a little something I always wondered why not many brands do often. Another benefit of this base design is that you're not scratching up the bottom of your mouse, which is something you would notice if you used Pulsar's ES mice before. There is also a dedicated polling rate button. Perhaps it's something that he found convenient since he spent quite a fair bit of time on the X2 V2 ES and the Zowie S2 DW, and those are two mice that have a polling rate button on the bottom. I use Zowie mice a lot and a polling rate button is just very useful for me because I use 4000Hz sometimes when I'm gaming, or when I'm editing videos on DaVinci Resolve, I need to bring it back down to 1000, if not the program will lag. The build quality to me is up to standard of what you should expect for a high performance mouse today. The mouse button wobble is minimal, scroll wheel is securely fitted in, and the side buttons are as well. And there is no flexing or creaking from the top, the sides, or on the bottom of the mouse. All contact points of the mouse are feeling strong. What's disappointing, and I do not blame TenZ at all, this is really on Pulsar and the manufacturer. Maybe it's just me and I just got very unlucky, but the quality of the finish around the base of the mouse is just terrible for a launch of this caliber. As you can see here, all these scratch marks and scuffs were there when I first took it out of the box, and this is just not something that anyone should overlook when it comes to a mouse that is $130. The stated weight on the website is plus minus 47 grams, plus minus God knows how many, they didn't say, but on my unit with the default skates, it weighs in at 48 grams. Now before I go into more detail with the shape and how it feels from my experience, to put things into perspective, my hand size is 17.5 by 9. The shape of this mouse feels like it leans more towards being suitable for the claw and relaxed claw grip styles to me. Also, the size of it is not large, but it feels sort of chunky, so it can come off feeling a little bit bigger than it looks. The tip of the mouse buttons roll off the edge, and this is a design element that Pulsar does not do with their mice. Having mouse buttons this way, it's a lot more comfortable if you place your fingers right up to the edge of the buttons, or if you do a palm grip and your fingers extend a little over the edge, it will feel a lot more comfortable for sure. Mouse buttons like this is something that Zowie does a lot with their mice, and I'd say even the mouse button grooves feel very similar to the Zowie S2 DW. Not saying that this is a bad thing, it is a good mouse button design. The sides are fairly flat, it does not flare outwards, which is great for people who extend their ring and pinky fingers, and both side buttons are easy to access with my hand size. Running along the side, the shape opens up towards the back, giving a gentle curve that supports the wraparound of my thumb, and you got a backward hum with a height that has a comfortable amount of hum support. Overall, this is a shape that I feel is very good for a claw grip style, which is what it's designed to be. But at the same time, this shape feels like it's playing it safe. It's not necessarily a bad thing, it makes the mouse easier for more people to enjoy, which I think fans of his would deeply appreciate. But for people who are looking for a unique and super super supportive shape for the claw grip style, this one may feel a little too simple. The coating is good. I believe that this is the same coating which they use for the X2 Crazy Light Jet Black colorway, but whether it is or not, it's a smooth and comfortable coating that gets grippy when your hands warm up and sweat a bit. Smudges and sweat marks are inevitable for black mice, but on this matte black coating, it's not too bad. For gamers who are buying a high-end gaming mouse for the first time, I recommend making it a habit to keep your peripherals clean so that whenever you get on the game, you get the most grip from your mouse. You got nice white skates, and it also includes a set of dot skates in the box. I've been using this mouse on my HSR SE Rogue 2 and the Artisan Key 83 and an Artisan 0. The glides are smooth, they do not take too long to break in, the edges are rounded off on all sides, and overall these skates don't feel too fast nor too slow and should be more than good enough for most people. If you prefer a faster glide, you can try the dot skates, but I would recommend using that on a mouse pad with at least a medium hardness, or even better if you have a glass pad, these dot skates are good for that sort of use. I recommend to give the dot skates a try first, and you can always swap them out for aftermarket skates if you do not find the glide to be satisfying. Now this part is to help people visualize the different grip styles on the TenZ Signature with reference to my hand size. This shape is clearly designed with the claw grip style in mind. For my hand size of 17.5 by 9, both a relaxed and standard claw grips feel very comfortable. However, when I try to do a aggressive claw grip, I start to feel the shape working against me a little, mainly because towards the back of the mouse buttons, it can start to feel quite high. And that's it, the relaxed claw grip feels especially nice on this one. Surprisingly, the palm grip style works quite well too. The top shell has a gentle slope and the sides feel rather flat to me without any outward flares, which makes it comfortable to rest your hand across the shape. If your hand size is similar to mine or even smaller, the palm grip style should feel pretty comfortable. And for the fingertip grip style, I wouldn't say that it's ideal for my hand size. The back of the mouse is quite a bit chunky, but if your hands are larger than mine, you could probably make it work. Overall, it's a shape that feels pretty forgiving and easygoing in general. This one does not feel like a small mouse, so for gamers with smaller hand sizes, this mouse would feel quite full in your hand, and I think you should be able to make it work with a super relaxed claw grip or the full palm grip. You have Pulsar's optical switches in this mouse, not to confuse with the switches on other mice that Pulsar has. Their labeling is super generic and I think I know what they're doing, but anyway, for the description in the product pages, they are labeled as fast and double click free optical switch. And all of them except for this TenZ Signature mouse, the X2 Crazy Light and the Pulsar Feynman F01 have Raysha optical switches. For this mouse though, you have what they call Pulsar optical switches, and these were first introduced with the launch of the X2 Crazy Light. There is not much information about these switches, so I can only share based on how they feel. For the switches in this build, the clicks sound crisp with a fair amount of weight and with decent tactility to them. The switches do not feel snappy in this build though. Free travel across the button is mostly minimal, and if you are pressing on the buttons closer up to the front, you will feel a significant amount of post travel. I would have loved it if it had Huano mechanical switches though, because I feel that those switches can really bring out the best of the experience of using this mouse. By default, the debounce time is set to 2 milliseconds. I've been using this mouse with the settings set to 0, and I have not experienced any cases of slam clicking. And on my crispy meter, with the way it sounds and feels, I'll put them right about here. The side buttons on this mouse feel really good. I actually prefer this shape and size over the thin low profile ones you see on Pulsar's X2 models. These do require a fair bit of force to press though. It really reminds me a lot of Razer's Viper V3 Pro side buttons for both how it looks and feels. There is a nice tactile click with every press, no mushiness at all, and it genuinely feels like you're pressing on a proper well-designed button. There's minimal pre and post travel on both the front and rear side buttons, which is great to see. So this mouse has a TTC Gold encoder, which sets it apart from Pulsar's mainline mice that usually come with their blue encoder. Scrolling on this mouse feels a bit mushy to me, but the steps are distinct enough. I personally wish there was a bit more tactile feedback between each notch. It's not bad by any means, but just kind of okay. Really not an experience that stands out. The scroll clicks are very easy to press. It has a shallow press and gives off a hollow sound. Again, not necessarily a bad thing, just something to note in terms of the characteristics in this build. Scrolling on this wheel reminds me so much of how it feels to scroll on a GPX Superlight 2, so just something to note. Now here's a quick sound test to give you a better idea of how this mouse sounds. This mouse is equipped with Pulsar's XS1 flagship sensor, a tuned Pixar Port 3950, which goes all the way up to 32,000 dpi. So this sensor offers 3 lift-off distance settings, 0.7, 1, and 2 millimeters. The sensor performs just fine. It's got the same tech as Pulsar's newer mice. Overall, it doesn't feel any faster or slower than what Pulsar has already released before with the XS1 sensor. This mouse is basically Pulsar on the inside and TenZ's ideas on the outside. The software is very much the same as what Pulsar uses for all their other mice. It's a dedicated program that you need to download from Pulsar's website. You can program your buttons, it's got motion sync of course, you can adjust your debounce time, fine-tune your DPI by increments of 10, lift-off distance settings, polling rate as well, and for this one you can adjust the polling rate from both the software or on the mouse using the polling rate button on the bottom. The adjustable range is from 125Hz to 8000, and you also got a macro page as well, so pretty much all the settings you need to configure the mouse to your liking. Battery life ranges from 18 to 112 hours depending on the polling rate that you use, so if you're using this one at 8000Hz, you get about 18 hours on a full charge. This mouse supports wireless connectivity of course, with polling rates ranging from 125Hz to 8000. You also have the option to use the mouse wired, but that will cap it at 1000Hz polling rate if you prefer that setup. And in terms of stability, including high polling rates, thank goodness I did not experience anything negative. While I cannot say that this mouse is a game changer in any way, I did have a good time using it. There are actually quite many things that I'm glad to see them do and not do with this collab release with TenZ. First, I'm glad that this has Pulsar's optical switches that were first introduced in the X2 Crazy Light. It's a much nicer click experience for gaming than the Ratio optical switches in my opinion. Secondly, I'm grateful that this launch is not another reskin of the X2 model. This is a new shape, but also I wouldn't say it feels completely new like an original concept, because this one feels very familiar to me. But also how good a shape is very subjective. This one's kinda easygoing and it makes it easy for people who are not too experienced with gaming mice to just pick up and feel comfortable using with decent support for the claw grip style. And you know, TenZ having a huge fan base, I think they would appreciate it being this way. Also, I'd imagine that not all of his fans are necessarily gamers or peripheral enthusiasts, but would like to use a mouse by him. And I think if I didn't fall into either category, I would feel that this is money well spent because I can get something to support him, and at the same time, it is something that I can use comfortably. Now, final thoughts and what do I think of its value? While I do not find this mouse game-changing, it is a good mouse. And I think many might even enjoy this mouse a lot more than Pulsar's current lineup. There is a lot of hype for collab release like this, especially because it's TenZ, so at the end of the day, I would encourage everyone to manage their expectations. It's not gonna make you an aim god, but you may very well enjoy your time gaming with it. Get it for the experience if you're interested, and of course to support the guy if you're a fan. He seems like a pretty cool dude. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful in any way, please leave a like and subscribe to support my channel, and I guess I'll see you in the next one.